Hello and thanks for joining us on Kalkine TV for Smart Market Insights. I'm James Preston, and in this edition I'll be shining a light on rising inflation and 5 sectors to watch amidst the backdrop of high inflation. News headlines have been flooded of late with the latest US data of a massive increase in the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. The US has the largest global economy and it has multi-dimensional effects on several other economies as a result. The persistent disturbances in the supply chain management in the pandemic have been one of the most significant causes of high degree inflation in the US and other nations. A substantial number of advanced and emerging economies are experiencing high inflation at present. As this was supposed to be the recovery period, it was expected that the world economy would experience some inflation. However, the CPI for various goods and services across most countries is climbing much faster than anticipated. The Biden administration seems to be under immense pressure, especially after the latest CPI figures were released. The report showed that the index rose at 7.5% over the past year and 0.6% in the past month alone. This is the highest level of inflation experienced by the US economy for the past 40 years. The worrying factor is that the price is now not rising for only pandemic-affected goods, but other commodities as well. Consequently, citizens are becoming pessimistic and consumer baskets are shrinking. Many investors are now presuming that the Federal Reserve might increase the interest rates to curb the high inflation rate. However, raising the interest rate may contract the demand and thus the revival journey could be hampered. A handful of economists have suggested that the high level of inflation could slide by the end of 2022 with supply chain barriers easing. However, some have suggested that such high inflation may leave long-lasting impacts on the US economy and thus the central bank and policymakers need to take stringent steps to correct it. The 19 nations that use the euro currency are also sailing in the same boat as the USA. Prices have been increasing at a substantial rate consecutively for the past 3 months. In January, the annual inflation accounted for 5.1% in December, and it was 5% in November, and ultimately 4.9% overall. These inflation rates have broken all records dating back to 1997, which coincides with the year that such records began to be kept. The primary causes for such a high price level are the skyrocketing prices of oil and gas and the supply chain disruptions. Oil prices have spiked in the global economy. However, natural gas prices have increased in Europe for a number of reasons, including depleted winter reserves, low supply from Russia, and also Russia's aggression towards Ukraine. The European Central Bank recently had a meeting with the outcome likely to be that no rate hikes would occur in order to attempt to curb inflation. Turning our attention now across the Tasman, and New Zealand is not far behind the rally of high inflation countries. The nation experienced a massive increase of 5.9% in the Consumer Price Index throughout 2021. According to Stats New Zealand, the rate has broken all records for the past 40 years. Several economists have suggested that high inflation might not be transitory, but instead could be persistent. The leading cause of the price level changes is affected by the massive increase in inflation in the USA and the worldwide supply chain disruptions. Investors in the country are worried about protecting and growing their wealth in these times of extremely high inflation. And lastly, let's focus on our home shores. Australia's Consumer Price Index rose at 3.1% in 2021, which was the highest since 2011. The cost of living is getting increasingly expensive in the country, which is the most worrying aspect for everyday Aussies. Fuel has seen the most significant price rise, followed by the rise of food products. And speculation is now forming as to whether the RBA would increase the interest rates in accordance with the actions of the US. Whilst the pandemic is gradually shifting to endemic status, the effects on supply chain disruption and restrictions in a number of countries are still causing a number of economic ripples. All right, well, that's all for this edition of Smart Market Insights on Kalkine TV. Another edition coming your way tomorrow. And in the meantime, make sure to keep it locked to Kalkine TV for the latest market updates, business news and exclusive interviews. I'm James Preston, signing off for now.